right, all you devils, happy Friday. Oh, 1:30 for me. I'm a little behind schedule here. So much going on. Well, let's see here. We'll start with Bitcoin. I think we'll look at ETH to Bitcoin. ETH is such a cluster F at the moment right now. Technically, I think we'll let that sort itself out. But I had a few requests to look at ETH to Bitcoin as a cross. You got some players around the industry implying that Bitcoin and ETH might be a battle to see who's the better performer. I know Kathy Wood. She's advocating for a bigger percentage rally, of course, in ETH to Bitcoin. So I thought we'd look at that spread. And again, we'll look at some stock indexes. Maybe we'll take a peek at VeChain here, which is something we've touched on a few times. Well, not a dramatic change other than, sky is falling. Now we retrace. It's funny how quickly sentiment can change. Well, if we look here, this is, we'll bring in a little SMC here into this, just looking for opportunity here. Well, here we see the, I shouldn't even have to mention it, right? I'd like to thank every one of you. I saw that long before I posted it. So we're into the golden zone from the top, right? So you can see here also it's a liquidity sweep as we go into the golden zone. And then what makes this an area of interest here on a higher time frame here, being in the daily here, is I've got just a perfect textbook order block here, right? So the supply, some people don't like to use that. You can call it supply. We sweep the high, right, and then we get displacement that comes off of it. So here on a daily, that's a pretty damn good looking POI, as they say, a price or a point of interest, particularly since we have the fair value gap comes off of it. So this would be, and of course right now, literally in the final phases of a course that details all of this. So it's very fresh in my mind. How does Elliott Wave and Smart Money Concepts, how do they work together? Here we see just a textbook. Like I can't order this up any better. So as we pull back here, we've got a completed impulse here. I think for most of us, the real question here is this 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 1. It sounds a little extreme to be thinking, 1, come on. Well, if this is 1, 2, and we're going to get a big 3 into the halving and all the other bullish, I should say potentially bullish scenarios for Bitcoin, fundamentally, boy, is this interesting. So as would relate to us as technicians, well, we can see some imbalances down here that have yet to be mitigated here. So we've got just this beautiful here again. I'm on the daily, right? So a nice big fat. Oh my God, is that not gorgeous? I think everything else in here has been tapped, right? So there's a little demand zone here right before the push up with, again, fair value gaps, imbalances, if you prefer, on the way up here. Now it looks like that's a 3 coming down. It could be a 5, but right now it looks like an ABC. It would make more sense. Although if we get a 3 here into an X and then we get a 5 coming down here, which of course we don't have any of this, right? What I'd be anticipating some sort of a 3 to get the bulls all fired up again, and then the rug pull, right? And I touched on this last week and got a few comments on this. Hang on a second. Sorry, that anyone would anticipate that if we look at this in perspective, that this right here, again, I touched on this last week, that this is going to, well, let's do it. Let's make it extreme. This is going to correct all of that. Now, as I said last week, right? Anything's possible. But would that be your first, if you here's we talk about putting money on the line, would you bet on that that's it and we're off to new highs? I wouldn't. Now that doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It just means if you're looking from the perspective of where can I get the slightest edge here, this would be assuming abnormal, not what would be a typical time-based retracement here off of this entire impulse. Well, that's Abby, right? We're going to trade Abby? No, not when there's not with Bitcoin. Now I say that, you know, right, then next week we'll do this, right? I mean, I'm not saying that that's not possible, right? And this could be relabeled here. Maybe well, that's going to be a toughie, but the 3, 4, 5, maybe the 5 has to be pushed up here, right? That this is somehow, it'll be tricky to get a count on that. But as it sits right now, I mean, this as far as I'm concerned, we finished something here. Now it's just the process of the correction, right? Nobody knows, right? I don't say that with certainty. I say that with probabilities in mind. So retrace here into a pretty dramatic area of supply with displacement would suggest to me that X up here, well, that's how I'm going to trade it for what that's worth, right? So, okay, so I've got a completed impulse. So we don't want to just go, oh, well, it's the 3. Well, so let's assume the 4. Let's start with, since it's a completed impulse, if I can get my mouse on it, let's start with, okay, well, if it's a 1, how would it look to come down here, right? We've got this untested, untapped, unmitigated fair value gap down here that's just waiting right underneath the golden zone. X, if it's a 3, boom, right? See, it almost doesn't matter. If it's a 3, okay, good, right? So, okay, probably a 2. If it's a 5, well, then we're going to go, oh, 3, you know, depending on what we do here, maybe if we get a 5, oh, okay, it's a flat. Either way, what we're really keying off of here is length of time. Even if this is going to be a 2, and we're just measuring, oh, it's back to that bright green here. Even if we're, God damn it, even if we're just measuring this, well, what are we looking at here? That's September 7th through, so 4.5 months here. And we're going to do this in a week, 10 days. Anything's possible, but with that, boy, that would be mighty aggressive to do it that way. To just give you my counsel is technically what would make the most sense there. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, but as we sit here looking at this, boy, is this ripe for a sell-off. Now, I'm as one who does very rarely, right? I just don't have time to manage it. As someone who very rarely sells, if I did and I had nothing else to do other than just trade Bitcoin, I would short that. Not with leverage. I'd have my stop up here. Hang on. Allergies, just the bane of my existence. Well, there's some ripe liquidity sitting up here, and we didn't break the 65. So you think there's any stops up there? Yeah, we can all agree, right? But there's also stops here. Right? All of this has already been swept. So we know we have liquidity down here. So as we know from, well, you watch it long enough, and I would concur that hang on. What I would propose to you is ICT's greatest contribution, right? There's a lot of contributions. But as something that we can relate to and that we can apply in any chart we're looking at, the algorithms are doing one of two things. They're either seeking liquidity or they're rebalancing something. Well, they've already swept the liquidity here. All right, they already got that, and they already got some more here. All right, and then they got this one here. Right, so liquidity has been grabbed. Now, so if you think of it this way, right? If this is the high and this is the low, this is our range we're working in. Okay, we're coming back. Where do we want to sell? Right, so SMC, right? We want to sell in the premium, right? Above the 50 order block here on the other side of the fair value gap. Now, we may not make the order block, right? It may just come right up into this fair value gap. So that's where using some Elliott knowledge and just some fib knowledge here would be useful to us, right? So if we come here, golden zone, that's where I would be looking. But we know a B can go higher, and perhaps we're going to tap into that 50% of that order block, which would not be unusual, right? But that's what makes it so hard, right? You have to think of it this way. Oh my God, I can't sell that. It's coming straight up. What are you talking about? Sell that. Well, okay. What's the risk reward there? If your stop is here and your targets are down here, where's the better risk reward? Now, here's what, again, it's been suggested that I've just hammered that to death, right? So, okay, I got your point here. We're not buying breakouts. Now, if you're buying that, oh God, I feel sorry for you. But if you're buying that, okay, where's your stop? Here? I mean, or you can just randomly pick something. But that's where technically your stop should be. That would be a poor choice of all the choices you have here to buy the breakout, right? What would it be? It would be a break of structure, right? Now we don't know how far that could go. You know, maybe we go up here and get this algo target. Well, what is the cornerstone of smart money concepts after a break of structure? Retrace. That's it, right? If you miss that part, well, you're fucked, right? That's got to be number one. Oh, break of structure. Oh, retrace. That has to be at the front of your mind, right? If you're applying that. I'm not telling you have to, but mighty useful. Break of structure, retrace. Now, this is sitting up here. That's a virgin pivot, right? Waiting, right? Just a big flag up there saying, come get me. Well, back to my point here as I get this out of here. Of the PDA, of the premium discount rate, right? Again, I'm doing a course combining Elliott Wave and SMC, so it's very much on the tip of my tongue here. But if we're in the premium up here in this PD array, and we're coming up into this zone, well, you've got just a great looking opportunity here to take a low risk short. Now, use leverage at your own discretion. But if we're coming up here, if we do this right now the media, right, it won't take long because they flip flop so fast. Oh, okay, well, it scares over. Bitcoin's off to the moon, right? Which is just what might set something like that up, right? Get everybody all excited again. Oh, here we go. Oh, phew, that was close. God, I thought we were going to free fall, right? I mean, and we shall see. Right now, again, I don't know. For all I know, we're going to the moon here, but I would not trade it that way. Why trade Abby? All right. So let's. Let me pause here for a second. I thought rather than just go to ETH, which is just a cluster F of just a hideous looking. Well, at least from an Elliott perspective, not much more. Any perspective, it's very hard to diagnose. I think what's going on with that price action. So it'd be and per our request here. Now I've got a 3-day up here of ETH to Bitcoin on Coinbase. This is a very tricky count here. I think this is one where Elliotticians may differ here. I think this is pretty solid here with the leading diag here, right? So 5 longer than 3, 3 longer than 1, series of 3s into a 2. Now I can get a completed impulse right here to a 3rd. This is one of the few times, and it's very, very close, where truncation seems to be the better fit. To go 1, 2, 3 ABC into the 4, and then I've got such a clear 5 here. I can't reconcile that as some sort of WX. It's not an X, it's a 5, right? So then you got to back into it going, okay, well, if that's a 5, how would that fit into a corrective structure? Well, it doesn't appear that there's any good solution there. So I think this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, I put the channeling on it to accommodate that. So what would you pivot to here? I mean, if you take it up here, I just was making the best fit I could here with that extra 50 here, and you just not if you need to, right? Just to if you're OCD, right? And you got to have every pivot covered. Well, okay, so you could have a sliding parallel up here, 4, 5, truncate. There's one of the rare cases where it seems to be the better solution. And this looks like some sort of triangle B, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, a bit of a cluster F down here. Okay, well, so I got a bunch of imbalances here. I've got the fair value gap indicator on there. Big one here. Now, so I want to go 1, 2, but I can't quite. This is very. If that's the E, right, we got an underthrow in the E, A, B, C, D, E, right, common underthrow there. But if that's 1, oh, is this 2? It's brutal. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't quite get it all to finish here. If I need an impulse here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I can get a diag here. A, it looks like expand the B into the 4, right? We haven't overlapped this 1 here. So this is a contender now as we come back down, as it's either rebalancing or grabbing liquidity. Well, we are currently rebalancing this imbalance. And again, I'm on a 3-day. And what are we leaving behind? More imbalance, right? So this is a balanced price range, right? So an imbalance is getting rebalanced here. That's algo activity. So are we coming back down here for a C to give us an AB? Oh, that's an awful looking C, but As long as we stay, well, this being the key here, as long as we stay below that here, certainly looks like we're coming that direction. Again, it's a 3-day. We come down here, that's going to start to look more interesting. You've got the bright red flag here, waving, whistling to breakout bears. Oh, come sweep me. With this as an important pivot. Right, it's not relevant to an invalidation of the count, but we can see, well, you just did this. Right, just grab that up here. We've got an area here, potentially support. Now that's just structural support. I'm not applying. Well, there's imbalances right here. Actually, now that I look at it, that would be a breaker block, right? So here, this was. Let's see here. I might keep it there. This is a break of structure here, so this is the low that got it there. Make a case here. You got so breakers just resistance becoming support. That's all it is. So if this was the resistance on the premise that, oh, okay, well, if it's coming back up here, this should, this should be a protected high. Well, as we go through, now this was resistance, potentially support. Okay, so now if we put that in context of if that's completed, where are we looking to? Where are we looking to pull from? Would be right here. So I'm going to pull from the high because the algo doesn't care about your Elliott count. So if we're going to come through that, there's a 50. Am I in log? Yeah, I am in log. Come out of log. No, the channeling gets wacky. But the Elliott count doesn't change, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just look where the C is now, and look where this potential, previous resistance, potentially support in the golden zone. So to come down here for this, heads up. All right, well, let's see. You come down here. Okay, let's wait. Right. Let's at least get some sort of change of character, and if it comes back down, that's the one you want. Okay, so let's move on from that. How am I doing? 17 minutes. That's all right. I had one more crypto here I want to look at. Hang on. This may be my favorite technical count here on the charts. Oh, oh fuck, I gotta get that off. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the subdivision, golden zone, 50, 38, 23. Just can't script them like that. That it's just perfect, Elliott. I know, it's no good anymore. But that's one of those rare cases. I jest, right? It's just textbook, right? Elliott will never stop working until, as long as the humans are trading, right? Now that could be getting a shorter and shorter window as AI starts to dominate our lives. But fear and greed are still part of the market, and that's all Elliott Wave has ever been, right? So if you're thinking that, oh God, that shit doesn't work anymore, I would beg to differ. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's golden zone, I believe. Oh, let's see if I'm getting the actual one right there. A, B, C. All right, so this would have to be WXY. So we get right into the pocket. You can see there's a little demand zone here. Unmitigated right there. It taps it, right? That may be why we don't tap the golden zone. Up, 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 up. 1, 2, and then we get perfect subdivision here. So 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, where am I looking for that 4? Right here, right where I've got that, right at the 38. Now, nothing says it has to come to 38, right? Just because the channeling's there. That's a perfect tag, right? And you see the little structure right here, right? At the 23. If we start to go, right, we're not going to say, well, I can't trade it, right? Where would the next opportunity be? All right, so if we take this, that's the liquidity. Let's see if I can get that. And I pull it up here. If we get that, let's get a wave 4, right? So we don't have this yet, but this would be what I'd be mapping out for Elliott mapping. If we're going to go up here and then start coming back for a 4, this would be your window. Well, maybe we'll pick up some of this. Then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you got this monster as well. Let's change that to green so we can see it and pump that up a little bit. All right, so now we'd have this up here, right? Targets. Now I'm in log scale, right? This won't look as pretty if you're not in log scale, but we're at a price of $7 to 127. Yeah, you need to be in log scale there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, waiting for 4. So opportunities here. I'm not saying buy it right there. I'm saying have your eyes peeled for an opportunity there. That's not a bad spot. It's just the time, right? It's not quite right. That's part of why the channels are useful to us. The balance is a little off, right? So we could, where are you here? So if I did this, right? Okay, so let's look what we've got here. All right, so if I come a little bit lower here, I'm going to have 100%, the length of the 2 relative to the 4. Now, there's no requirement that the market do that, but that's the kind of thing algo's like. Right, so we'd come maybe again back to that 4, which is right at the 38, right at this little unmitigated zone here. Well, yeah, it is unmitigated, right? This last little swing down, it has not been tapped, and there's right to the tick of it. Heads up, right? If you're a longer term trader and you don't mind dollar cost averaging in, right? If we go from 80 to 58, 60, you might start nibbling, recognizing that you might have to add more as you go down. All right, hang on a sec. Let's finish the crypto and then we'll move over to the stock indexes. Wait, I want this. VeChain, we've looked at this many times, both on Friday vids as well as on live streams. I just think this is a real contender, and we have just, right, 5 followed by 3, right? You don't have to be an Elliott master to get this, right? It's pretty easy to get, and the subdivision here, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Well, there's a bit of a kick here, so this has to be the 4. So you got to dig a 1, 2 out of there. Oh, shit, it almost doesn't matter. Right now, there is one last little FU right here, right? For you can see what they did right here. The algorithms. So you build up this trend line liquidity here, and that becomes right opportunity here. So looks like we're coming down. Oh, one last little. It actually, if I'm not mistaken, right, it sweeps the high by a tick. Just to F, right? Everyone who was short. Oh, sorry about it. You can't play. It's like it's in the pocket there. Didn't quite get golden zone. Well, let's get right on it. Pretty damn close. Second target to the tick. All right, you can put all this Elliott wave on, all this, right? It does not change the dominant algo in the market, right? That will unless they rewrite it right now. I'm not again. I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting what I was saying earlier from ICT's contribution that it's either rebalancing or seeking liquidity. Well, we can apply that same thinking and identification within the context of the algo. Right? It's not hard to do. Yeah, we got a little wick happy there. All right, little poke goes through. Looks like where are we gonna get that? Looks like right here. Yet to get to target here. I've got swing high, swing low. 3 comes back. Wick. It could be that there's a fair value gap here. Remember rebalancing. So there's a rebalance of this way. They're a little hard to see, but you can see them here if I draw them. Fair value gaps right there. That's the one that seems to be reacting to this little inducement. Well, since we have that, you'd have an order block. Oh, let's just use that. Let me keep it easy. All right, so we have an order block followed by multiple fair value gaps. So as it comes back here, what's it doing? Right, it's rebalancing, right, and seeking liquidity, right, as well. In this case here, you'd be it's not nearby. Oh, this was swept, right? So this gets swept. So all this wick is just going up here. That's what it's doing. It's coming right back to the last uptick. Some call this price delivery, right? So we're coming. When was the last time that as it went down here where people had a chance to buy? It comes right back to that spot here. We'll more on that later. Okay, so A3 into the B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like that C could be done. Could be. Let's get down here, right, on VeChain. What are we doing here? You see that we get a low, so we have an order, we have a demand zone here. Let's say it that way. We have a demand zone here. Yeah, so we sweep the lows. We'll grab liquidity here, and then we found there's a little inside bar here, but then we're followed by this displacement here. So good demand zone here. Let's identify that, right? So demand zone here. Should we come back down? So if this is 1, 2, 3, so think about it. Let's see. Okay, so I've got a demand zone here. Oh, it looks like I've got a 1, 2. Right? If we're going to go 3, 4, 5, right? Oh, and we'll come back up here into some of this. This. Here's one that's untapped. These have all been tapped. This one has. Well, that would be maybe our 3 taps this. So the thought being, okay, if I start to come back down, oh, could I come that far? Maybe I need to come here, right? Now, I don't have this, right? So I'm just mapping out what potentials, right? And how you would want to look at that. Oh, got demand, displacement. This first already, maybe a little tap here. At least there's been a partial mitigation here. This is untouched. Heads up, right? That's one to get on your watch list, right? It's got good potential to go. I wouldn't sleep on that one. Okay, hang on a sec. All right, we'll look at the stock indexes here because this is, right, we're hitting all-time highs here. There's some interesting, the correlation here is worth taking a look at here. So certainly in the S&P and the Nasdaq, it's the Mag 7, right? Well, let's isolate here. Mag 7 is driving all of this, and I've simplified here, right? So COVID low up 50. Right, targets are up here. So the real question we have here, and we've wrestled with this over multiple videos, and anyone here is applying any Elliott or even market structure here is a little bit of a challenge here. Is this 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, you might look at that and say, oh, could that be the 4? Well, it's mighty deep for the 4, but if that's the 1 and we go A, B, C, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's an impulse here. 3, 3, 5, right, into a flat. I don't know that it can get much closer than that. Random. Well, draw your own conclusion there. Okay, so this would have to be some sort of complex WXY. Deep for a 4, but it doesn't overlap, right? So that's the conundrum, right? So it looks like, 1, 2. Oh, into the golden zone. Of course it's a 2. I got down here. RSI is pretty hot, little divergence. So volume is fading. That's a Weiss wave. Same thing here. A little bit of a fade as we see, right? All of it. Now it's Friday. We got a lot of shit going on across the globe. I wouldn't eliminate the idea that it's the 5th that's going in. This clearly the 4. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like we could be done. Now here's a reasonable target. We've already got the algo target, right? From this golden zone, there's the algo target right there. I mean, I added the 272, right? Which commonly, right? Common targets for fibs. 1, 2, 3, 4 deep. I know. We're going to keep going. Well, if the Mag 7 is going to do its thing, potentially, right? We're in an AI world. Now, here's the Russell 2000. So these are the small caps, right, which are not at all-time highs. Now, do they have a potential to catch up? It looks like, off COVID, we got a completed impulse here. It's a little, not harder to do. So do you even need to count it? No. What are we doing? We're going sideways. We're not progressing the trend. There's a little squirt up for the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, sideways 5. Harsh on the A. A triangle B, and then we finish with this. Right, so we get A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the C. Now coming off of that, looks like at this point, right now we don't have the high there yet. Looks like next up here is to sweep that high and give us a 5th. Well, what's that going to be? Well, that's the question. All right. So if that's a complete, it almost doesn't matter what it is, right? If this is, well, I shouldn't say it that way. If this is 1, 2, right? It could be, right? So 1 COVID low into the 2, we don't sweep it. So if that's 1, 2, 3, no, that wouldn't make sense, right? We've already overlapped here. If this is 1, 2, and we're going to go up, well, I shouldn't Yeah, but this would be, could you wedge this into it? Well, you wouldn't want to be trying to wedge a diag in here. So my point being here, right? Oh, well, that's a weird color. I've got somebody else's template here. Happens when we do the live streams here. So when they give me their stuff, often it gets saved into mine. There's no way we're on the edge there. That is clearly a run of this. So if you were thinking 1, 2, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2. Hard to see something else, right? Oh, we'd have to do all those from the absolute lows here. But here's an impulse, here's the correction, right? Right now, it looks like we're coming out of that correction, and that would be the target. So you can see here, if again, are we rebalancing or seeking liquidity? That would appear to be liquidity. Oh, let's look over here. Oh, one thing about fair value gaps, you can have a distortion when you're on a daily because of the daily gaps. But either way, right? So there could be some imbalances here, but clearly it's a liquidity grab, right? All of these have been swept, and look at the reaction, right? So breakout short sellers not having a good time. Do they ever? Well, I guess occasionally they do, right? Or they wouldn't keep doing it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're going for that 5. Got all the right ingredients here. That would be quick, but what would that likely be? 1, right? 1 of something. Here's the all-time high. Can we come out of here as a 1, 2? Are we going to go big time? Small, right? If this is 1, 2, and that's going to be 1, 2 of a 3, 4, 5. This is much higher. Everybody's going higher. Now remember, the market market does not need a reason to go higher. It needs a reason to go lower. It needs a reason to not go higher. The natural drift of the market will forever be higher. Right now, again, so it doesn't need a reason to go higher. It needs a reason to not go higher. So as we sit here, right, path of least resistance, looking across the other indexes is certainly higher. Although we got a lot of catch up to do here on the Russell. Oh, let me get over to the Qs here. I think I've got this teed up. Oh, that's in log scale. One of the annoying bits of log scales, you can't use regression. Okay, so here's the QQQ. Again, I'm on the daily. It's kind of the same question as the S&P. Is this? Are we just putting in the third here on the right? And it's a function of down here, right? Is this? Oh shit. Is this 1, 2? Or this is it opened down here, close here, so it's hard to argue with this pivot. Oh shit, come here. Hard to argue with this because I can get a diag in here. Or right, we come back here, right, and is this just an is this a truncation? Well, you go there last, right? We looked at with the ETH. ETH Bitcoin, right? If there's not a better solution, well, I'm not necessarily saying this is better, but it's certainly valid, and that would be, again, that's Abby, and we don't want to trade Abby. We want to trade Normi. Okay, so where that came from? All right, so if this is 2 to 3, and that's a 4. Okay, right in the sweet spot of where you'd anticipate a 4. Okay, sure looks like a good rip coming out of there. Are we completing the 3? Hard to argue with that. Unless, right, we have to come back here and fuss with that bottom, which I'd rather not do. Well, and then the other thing that would occur to you is, boy, the 1 to the 3 is monstrous. Boy, what a extension of the 3. Now this is the QQQ at all-time highs with AI and the Mag 7s fueling it. To have that monster ripper in the 3, again, does that seem crazy? I think not, right? There's 7 stocks driving the entire market, but that's why I remind you we're not nowhere near. Well, we're on our way here. There's the technical implication is we're on our way, but there's going to need to be well, I shouldn't say need. There is likely to be a retrace, right? We finish. Well, all of this. So you get the same thing here. You could think of this as liquidity. Well, we just swept it, right? And what happens after sweeping the liquidity? Retrace. Right? That's how it works. Did I get everybody? I got the Qs. I got the Yeah, I think I did. Okay, so 34 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. All right, I'm going to cut it there because I've got shit to do. I've got out of town this weekend. Off to Vegas. Wife and I having our anniversary. We got married there, so we're going back for a little fun for the weekend. So I'll be back Monday morning. No interruption to schedule for members or YouTubers. So I'll be back on Wednesday for that live stream. All right, guys. Give you a few things to chew on. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week.